Hey everyone, Harper, WWE2k19. It's another video coming at you today. What I want to show you is a creation that I did literally about 10 minutes ago. It's after I've shown you, or at any time during this video of me showing. The guy that I decided to do was FAAROOQ. I have waited long enough for everybody else in community creations to try and create FAAROOQ and to do a credible version. It was taking too long, so I got annoyed, and then I decided, okay, let me try this stuff by myself. So I did. I had a go. Please go easy on me in the comments if you don't like it. Basically, this is the first full core that I've ever done by myself. That is from face scan to everything that you see. Usually I like to take face scans, or I simply don't use them. Like, you can see that a lot of my own creations tend to be duplicates of wrestlers. You can go on Harper creations and have a look at the kind of guys that I've released, and you'll see that there's similarities with all of them. I don't tend to get into this world. It's a very long, drawn-out process that I'm not really happy with. It doesn't excite me as much as creating arenas and other parts of the game. But I thought I'd have a go, and I created this guy, FAAROOQ. So I'm going to show you, and then what I'm going to do is just talk to you a little bit more in depth about the things that I did, my learning processes, and my experience for my first ever upload. So firstly, I'll show you the attires. You've got the two FAAROOQ attires here. Now, obviously, the attires, let's just get that out the way. They're all on the game. The only thing that I had to create is the hat, which I always create to the face. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you up close the face. This took me ages to work out. Basically what happened was, when I went into the facial region here, I couldn't get his head size right. It took me the longest time. At first I had like his head blown out here because I saw that he's just got a weird head shape, man. FAAROOQ's got a weird head shape. Anyway, I had his chin, and his jaw was a lot smaller. It was actually narrower than the top of his head. And it just didn't look right. And eventually I ended up getting it right, sorting that out. What I usually do with these is just create it myself. I don't use a face scan. Like I said, if I do, it's somebody else's that I've downloaded from community creation. So what I did here was I made my own photo capture. So let's just see if I can show you the one I use. So these are all the ones that I usually download, etc, etc. And then at the bottom, what you can see are my sort of final 4 attempts at creating the face scan for myself. First 2 were okay, but they weren't brilliant, and they certainly weren't ones that I would use. Then I just narrowed it down, and the final one actually looks, I haven't looked at these myself until right now, but the final one actually looks really cool. It looks a lot better than the first one. And what I've realized is, I watched a video thanks to a bunch of guys on Twitter. They all recommended the same guy. They all said to me that Defract, so it's at Defract, has a great YouTube channel, and he does like a custom tutorial on how to do cores, and specifically how to do face scans. If you want to see it, you need to watch that. What I'll do is, once this is finished live broadcast, I will put the link to his video in the information on the video below, so that you can just go straight there after you've watched it and see how to upload a good face scan. Now, I will warn you, you've got to be good at Photoshop. You've certainly got to be used to using Photoshop or some sort of photo editing software in order to do this. Now, this was my first ever attempt at doing a real serious face scan. I hope you like it. I still think it's not perfect. I think I said to my wife after I'd made it, 5% of the original Ron Simmons, but I'm okay with where it's at. Certainly okay enough to download it. And I just worked out how to blend the picture into the color, which then obviously goes onto the face. So that's what I've got. Matching up the eyes and the mouth and the nose was really easy. One little bit of detail that I would suggest you if you are a creator, I don't see that many of them have done this, but I did it in mine because I just thought, do you know what, it's worth trying. You might see on the nostrils that some of it is black, some of it isn't, but I did those shadows in on Photoshop myself. What I also did that's worked really well on this final I actually dampened a lot of the light sources by using an eraser tool and just completely eliminating the light sources. So wherever there was a white light source, so there was some on his chin, there was some on his sort of in the middle of his eyebrows and around his eyes, I actually just deleted them. And because I have, you can see on this face scan in the bottom right corner of the screen, you can see that I've got this sort of big background color. Now, I use those as separate layers, so the face is on a layer above the background. That way, when I erase, you still get the color come through, you just don't get the white shiny bit. And what you end up with is a nice matte look on the face, but you keep the lighting. So that's a bit of advice for you, but that's also an insight into how hard and complex this whole process can be. I've really enjoyed it though, and I'm definitely going to do some more. I'm going to try a couple more at some point, probably as I finish my universe mode and start uploading videos of universe mode. I think I'll start getting into some CAWs and letting you see those. Now, as you can see, that is the face scan. I hope you like it. I've managed to do the face shape. What I also added that really helped were the wrinkles. Wrinkles are a great way of blending, in my opinion, blending between a face scan and the sort of plastic, Play-Doh-y looking skin texture that the game has on there anyway. So by putting those wrinkles on, it kind of blends the two together. Obviously, you start seeing more detail after those blends, but that's okay. Like the crow's feet on the eyes are a good example of, you know, trying to just to blend a face the face scan into the face model, and then the forehead wrinkles are exactly the same. I did a bit of work around the nose and the mouth, and let's just jump backwards now to the body. Now, body customization is one of my favorite things. I think I'm quite good at it. I had to go and find the height of FAAROOQ on the internet. I just literally Googled it, got his height and weight. He's 6'2". He's something like 270 pounds. But his body customize, I love doing body customization. I think I'm good at it. I tend to get it right. I think I'm always within like 90 to 100% accuracy of the body that I'm looking for, and I'm very happy with what I did here. You can see that I did loads of body adjustments, so the neck, the back, the chest, the stomach, the abs, the shoulders, arms, forearms, and the thighs. His ass and his calves didn't get touched because, let's face it, who cares about those two things on a wrestler? Unless it's Rikishi. So I changed all those, re-edited them. You just got to play with these things, you know. The body customization's hard to explain, but what I tend to do is get a portfolio. I get a collage of like 5 images on Google of different, you know, his body in different positions in the ring. Usually I try and get like the menu pose kind of pose down look, because that tends to be the most generic body shape that you can find. And what you want is his muscles really to be relaxed in most of the images so that you can see what his natural body posture is, or her, and then of course you go from there. So that's what I did. I found this one, and you know, FAAROOQ's pretty, he didn't have a six-pack, but he was solid muscle, but he wasn't ripped, but he was just solid. His arms were way more ripped than his stomach is. So as you can see, he actually doesn't look that kind of ripped apart from his back and his arms, which are probably what he worked out the most. Veins I don't touch much. Skin color I changed and darkened, which is why there's a slight differentiation between the color of the face scan and the color of his skin on the rest of his body. That's something that I would change if I went back in. I would simply darken FAAROOQ's face, but I'm not going to do that. I don't think I need to with the way it finally looks. I did add some body oil. I don't add a lot, but he does have some. Like, he definitely used it, so I added that as well. Let's come out of the body now and go back to the attire. And there you go. So here's the attire now on him. Obviously in here I have to add hair and all that sort of stuff, so we just edit the attire, go into appearance, hair and facial parts, and as you can see, these are what I chose for FAAROOQ. Now, the good thing about what I said with the difference with the color of the face scan and the rest of the natural skin tone is that the hair adds a great way of masking the difference between those colors. It just acts as a nice bridge between the two. So the hair for FAAROOQ, it's not quite the hair that an Afro-Caribbean look would have, but it's good, it's short enough. It's certainly the right shape for FAAROOQ's hairline, so that worked real well. You've got the eyes. Oh, always change the eye color. I think a lot of people... Oh, J Bones, thank you. Thanks so much. This took me ages. Eye color's always something that I forget when I'm looking at CAWs. Most of mine tend to end up with blue eyes, even if they're not blatantly people who would have blue eyes. Hulk Hogan's one of them. People think he has blue eyes. He doesn't. He has brown eyes. So it's always good to just go in there and edit those. So you literally just go and it's the first eye that you see in the top left corner. You just click into that and then you can choose whatever color you want for the eye. Straight down here. I actually added a bit of facial hair because my Nation of Domination FAAROOQ, if you guys know him and saw him on TV, he actually didn't have a moustache or a goatee of any kind, but what my face scan had was a Ron Simmons like moustache, the whole handlebar thing. So to mask that a little bit, just to dampen it, I added a moustache that was actually the similar color to his face, and I think that just took away some of the overly obvious nature of that crazy moustache that he has. I then added a bit of a goatee but made it real opacity low so that it just, again, it helps add texture to the face so it doesn't look like Play-Doh. Then his eyelashes, for some reason his eyelashes were like default set on there, so I haven't changed those, but I also didn't add them. And that's it. So that's it for the hair and the face. The upper body is plain. You know, I did the body morph stuff just to make his body shape look better. Now, in terms of the bits of the attire that I did change, let's go into clothing. Obviously, you would get the FAAROOQ's attire under outfits. Now, what I love about WWE2k games this year is that they have actually added, maybe they do this every year, but I never tend to notice, they have all of the Nation of Domination's outfits on here. So you can see there are different outfits, so that when you add D'Lo Brown or Mark Henry or FAAROOQ or Kama Mustafa, whichever guy you want to add, their outfit is already on the game, which I really love. I really appreciate that, because to create this would be a nightmare, and it looks a lot better when the game makes it, in my opinion. Upper arms, you've got the bands. These are simply the very first one in under the all section. Then all I did was change the material. I believe I've changed it to, I think it was metallic or plastic. It was one that I think it was plastic maybe. It was just to give it that little bit of shine. Let's confirm that and get out of here. Lower arm, you can see, added a bit of shine to it, added velour just to give it that look. He had that like electric tape that he used to wrap his hands up in. So I haven't gone with the fingertip tape with FAAROOQ. It's kind of up to you. He mix and match the way he taped up his hands when he was wrestling, so I don't think that's a problem. Have a look at that yourself and see what you think. Another thing to mention actually before I go any further, with the face scan, it also came with eyebrows. So when I did the eyebrows, I actually didn't add any. I just used the ones that were on the face scan, but it may be that your face scan needs eyebrows added, so always remember to double check that. Now to the lower body. And the only thing I had to add was boots. And it was like, find a pair of generic black long boots that he used to wear and add those onto the game. So I did that. And out came FAAROOQ. So, like I said to you, I'm about 80%, 85% confident that this looks like FAAROOQ. I think it's almost there. A few minor changes could maybe make it look even better. But at the moment, I'm happy with that, man. Anything over like 75 to 80%, if it's looking more or less like the guy that you want it to be, the chances are you're not going to notice in game. It's going to look great and you're going to be happy with it. So, the only final thing I want to do now is confirm this and go back to the attires. Which I've got to wait for the game just to load out on that. And then I'm just going to show you the hat. Now, I always do the hat. It was in my very first video, actually, on YouTube for 2k19. And what it is, I always do the same hat and I think I'm kind of mastering. I think I've already mastered the way to do this, to be fair. But you go into caps, you pick that cap there, just under the one with the goggles. And then I go and create the 4 images. My little Pierre de la Resistance that I make is this bit here. I'm going to show you. So what I do, and I had to show my wife this. I was so sad that I showed her. But what I tend to do is I add this little patch here that makes it a straight line, essentially. Because as you can see at the moment, it's in a diagonal. It's ascending away. So what I tend to do is just go in and add another little shape. Oh, it's usually that shape. I add that, and it's like a patch. But what I then do, and you'll see in a minute, I then blend it by creating it as the same material as the hat, and so you can't actually really tell that it's there, and that blends it in really nicely, so that you end up with the Nation of Domination caps that they used to wear. So that's it. That is my FAAROOQ. The only other things I did that I would feel like showing you right now, obviously his name. Always get his name right, guys. It's hard to do. I used to spell his name wrong every single time I put it in, but I did that, and then I added like the crowd signs and stuff for you, the fact that he's booed. I've also added all of his abilities, all of his payback, all of his overall marks. These are based on my list of 100 top wrestlers of all time. In fact, I've actually rated every wrestler in the game for 2K19, so take a look at that, see what you think. You'll get to see a little bit more of the sort of recipe that I use for rating my superstars. That's done. So finally, you've got his pose. I wanted him looking upwards more, because like I noticed in a lot of his poses his head tends to look upwards, which is why I'm always confused about his actual body shape. I've got his hat on, but it's up to you if you don't want his hat on. I've got him on a sideward pose, blah blah blah. You guys can choose whatever you want for that. And that's it. That's my FAAROOQ, and I'm going to show you right now where he is on Community Creations so that you guys can find out how to download him. So Community Creations, let's go into uploads. And then go over here. Oh my word, 8 downloads already is like as many as I had for Hunter Hearst Helmsley and as many as I had for the Giants. So clearly it's been quite a popular one so far. I'm really happy with that. Thank you for the 8 people that have downloaded it so quickly. I appreciate you. Yeah, so hashtag list FAAROOQ Ron WWF. It's as simple as that. Put one of those in, the chances are you're going to get it. Or search for X Harper and you can just go and look at my content and find it. But the description is version 2. I did have a version 1 that I took out because I actually went back and changed his head shape. What I'm going to do now, I'm about to leave you guys and let you get on your way for today. But I am going to release another video soon. It's going to be more of an update. There was some content that you may have noticed in that video that was new or different from what I've shown before. So I'm going to do another video later about all that and just catch you up on all the general updates of what I've added to the game. But for now, that was FAAROOQ. I hope you enjoy him. If you've downloaded him already, I hope you're enjoying using him. We need a move set, so I'm going to be looking for that next. But thank you so much for all the downloads. Hope you're enjoying the game. I certainly am, and I'll see you soon.